In the shadow of colonial chains and revolutionary fires, the United States emerged in 1776 as a bold experiment in self-rule. Waves of dreamers from Europe's shadowed shores crossed oceans, fleeing kings and creeds, chasing a promise of equality, self-determination, and unyielding freedom. Yet from its cradle, this young republic was forged in strife, first against the redcoats of Britain in a war for independence, then in uneasy pacts and brutal clashes with the original stewards of the land, the indigenous nations whose territories the newcomers claimed. Amid these tempests, the architects of America hammered out constitutions, courts, and customs, but harmony was fleeting. Disagreements simmered like embers in dry grass, destined to blaze into catastrophe. Over the decades, as the Stars and Stripes banner stretched westward, a chasm yawned between the bustling factories of the North and the sprawling plantations of the South. Factories hummed with iron and steam, drawing hordes of European migrants, Irish fugitives from famine, Germans seeking solace, who toiled for wages and whispered of chains broken. Down south, vast fields of tobacco and soon cotton sustained empires of wealth, but at a human cost, the enslavement of millions, ripped from African shores, their lives bartered like livestock. This moral rift, property versus personhood, poisoned debates in parlors, pulpits, and the marble halls of Congress, turning words into weapons. More lives were shattered in the maelstrom of 1861 to 1865 than in any other American conflict, a tally exceeding 2/3 of a million souls. The scars linger in every conversation on justice, identity, and division, echoing from ballot boxes to street protests. Today we unravel this epoch of anguish and resolve, a tale of betrayal, bravery, and rebirth. Long before the first cannon roared, the specter of bondage haunted the colonies. Even as patriots penned cries for liberty in 1776, Rhode Island dared, in 1774, to outlaw human trafficking within its bounds. A flicker of conscience amid the gloom. Sympathy swelled in northern hearts, but southern fortunes rested on enslaved backs, bending over tobacco rows, a system etched into the soil like roots too deep to uproot. Then came 1793, and with it Eli Whitney's cotton engine, a deceptively simple device that sifted seeds from fiber in hours, not days. What began as a boon for mills exploded into a frenzy. Cotton crowned king of exports, flooding British looms and swelling Southern coffers. Ports like Charleston and New Orleans glittered with gold from bales harvested by the weary hands of the bound. Yet the North surged on different winds, mills and machines, fueled not by whips, but by immigrant sweat. These newcomers, many scarred by old-world tyrannies, swelled abolitionist ranks, their voices rising like a tide against the Tidewater estates. As America gobbled land, the Louisiana Purchase in 1803 swallowing French holdings for a pittance, the question loomed, would these prairies bow to the lash or bloom free? Congress banned fresh imports from Africa in 1808, a nod to reformers, but the South recoiled, their fields thirsting for more labor as cotton's hunger grew insatiable. Smugglers thrived in the shadows, and the cultural gulf widened. Northerners diverse and dynamic, Southerners guardians of a peculiar institution they deemed divine order, viewing themselves as the true heirs of '76. Balancing the scales became a high wire act. New states entered in pairs, one chained, one unchained, to preserve Senate parity. But the North's teeming millions tipped the House toward reform. Panic gripped Dixie in 1819 as Missouri sought entry as a slave haven north of the old Compromise line. After fevered haggling, the Missouri Compromise carved a boundary at 36 degrees 30. South of it, bondage permitted, north forbidden. Maine joined as free soil to even the ledger. It was a bandage on a festering wound, and as cotton profit soared, the poultice peeled away. Ambitions turned southward. Mexico, once a colossus swallowing Texas and California, crumbled under rebellion. In 1836, Texan settlers, many Southern migrants, defied Santa Anna, birthing a Lone Star Republic. Britain eyed it hungrily, whispering emancipation. America countered with annexation fever. President Tyler, scheming for votes, sealed a covert pact in 1844. James K. Polk, the expansionist who triumphed that fall, sealed the deal in '46, igniting the Mexican-American War. U.S. boots claimed vast swaths from the Rio Grande to the Pacific, baptizing it Manifest Destiny, a divine mandate to civilize the wilds with Yankee law and gospel. Victory unified momentarily, but the spoils reignited the blaze. Would these deserts and sierras harbor slaves? David Wilmot's proviso, a northern gambit to bar bondage in conquered lands, stirred Southern fury. The 1850 Compromise, a fragile five-bill truce, admitted California free, left Utah and New Mexico to popular sovereignty, let settlers vote, and toughened the fugitive slave law, compelling Northerners to hunt runaways or face jail. It called abolitionists, who now felt complicit in the hunt, their free blacks at risk of Southern chains. Peace, a mirage. Enter Stephen Douglas, the Little Giant, in 1854, pushing a Nebraska bill for a railroad artery. Southern senators balked. The lands lay above the sacred line. Douglas yielded, split it into Nebraska and Kansas, scrapped the compromise, and let voters decide. Bleeding Kansas was born. Pro- and anti-slavery zealots poured in like floodwaters. Missouri border ruffians rigging polls, free staters arming jayhawkers. Lawrence burned in '55. Pottawatomie Creek ran red with 5 pro-slavery scalps, courtesy of fanatic John Brown. Guerrilla hell reigned through '56, federal bayonets quelling the chaos only after Kansas voted free in '61, after years of gore. The Supreme Court piled on in 1857 with Dred Scott. A Missouri slave, toted to free Illinois and Wisconsin, sued for liberty. Chief Justice Tamey, slaveholder Ken, ruled blacks no citizens, Congress powerless to ban slavery anywhere. Northern outrage boiled. The court had enshrined the lash in the Constitution. From these ashes rose the Republicans in '54, fervent foes of expansion, not extinction, of bondage. Into their fold stepped Abraham Lincoln, log cabin lad from Kentucky's wilds, self-caught lawyer, Whig stalwart turned rail-splitter orator. His 58 clashes with Douglas, 7 thunderous debates, dissected the cancer of slavery coining, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." Defeat in the Senate honed him for 60, when the party crowned him standard-bearer. Brown's ghost haunted the hustings. In 58, the old crusader huddled with freedmen in Canada, plotting a Harper's Ferry uprising. October 59, he seized the Federal Armory, rallying slaves to arms. Robert E. Lee, Virginia's son, U.S. Colonel, crushed the raid. Brown swung from the gallows a martyr, his words searing, "I am ready to die." Southern paranoia peaked. Yankees plotted servile revolt. Election Day, 60. Lincoln swept the North. 40% popular, but electoral juggernaut. Dixie seethed. He'd won 0 states there. South Carolina bolted December 20. A secession cascade. Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas. In Montgomery, they birthed the Confederacy. Jefferson Davis, their provisional chief. Stars and bars aloft. Lincoln's March inaugural pleaded unity. No assault on Southern domestic institutions, but the Union unbreakable. Fort Sumter, Charleston Harbor's unfinished sentinel, became the spark. Lincoln resupplied. Beauregard shelled it April 12, 61. Anderson yielded after 34 hours. No deaths, but the die cast. Lincoln mobilized 75,000. 4 holdout states, Virginia, Arkansas, Tennessee, North Carolina, joined the rebels. The die was cast, brother against brother. The Union towered, 22 million souls, factories belching iron, rails snaking 21,000 miles. The Confederacy, 9 million, a third enslaved, 770,000 square miles to defend, ports strangled by blockade. Davis struggled to herd sovereign states into cohesion. Pundits predicted 90-day war. Reality ground on for 4 bloody years. First blood at Philippi, June 61. Union greenhorns routed raw Confederates in West Virginia's mud. Optimism surged. Lincoln tasked Irvin McDowell with storming Richmond. July 21, Bull Run. 35,000 Blues clashed 20,000 Grays near Manassas. Picnic crowds from D.C. fled in panic as Beauregard and Johnston's rails-borne reinforcements turned the tide. Stonewall Jackson, immovable Virginian, earned his moniker. Yankees crumbled, 2,900 dead or wounded. Washington trembled, illusions shattered. Missouri's Wilson's Creek, August. Nathaniel Lyon fell charging, first Union general slain, but his 5,400 held against 12,000. Naval thunder at Hatteras Inlet sealed the first rebel port. The Trent Affair, November. Union Captain Wilkes seized Confederate envoys from a British steamer, diplomatic dynamite. London rattled sabers, troop ships to Canada. Lincoln released them, averting transatlantic war. Britain stayed neutral, but her yards birthed rebel raiders like the Alabama. 62 dawned grim. Ball's Bluff. Senator Baker, Lincoln's pal, drowned in Potomac retreat. 900 Union losses. Kentucky's neutrality snapped. Ulysses S. Grant, taciturn Ohioan, leather-lunged, probed south. Mill Springs, rain-lashed rebels fled. Crittenden, drunk at helm. Fort Henry and Donelson tumbled to Grant's gunboats and February floods. Unconditional surrender Grant is nom de guerre. Pea Ridge locked Missouri for blue. Naval Revolution. Merrimac reborn. CSS Virginia shredded wooden Union hulks at Hampton Roads, March 8th. Next dawn, USS Monitor, Ericsson's turreted raft, clashed her in history's first ironclad duel. Shells glanced off plating, a draw, but sails swan song. Land roared at Shiloh, April 6th. Grant's 48,000 caught napping by Johnston's 44,000. Johnston bled out mid-charge, highest rebel star to fall. Buell's reinforcements bludgeoned back, 23,000 total casualties in Tennessee thickets. Farragut's Mosquito fleet stormed New Orleans, April 25th. Chains snapped, Crescent City hiss. Memphis flotillas shattered June 6th, Mississippi mostly blue, save Vicksburg's defiant bluffs. Virginia's Valley, Jackson's foot cavalry, lightning marches, seized Front Royal, routed Banks at Winchester. Seven Pines, Johnston mauled, Lee promoted. The 7 days, McClellan's Peninsula thrust repulsed. Timid George missed glory, 15,000 Union blood for Richmond's gates. Pope's Northern Virginia campaign, Jackson's flank at Cedar Mountain, Depot feast at Manassas Junction. Second Bull Run, 28,000 Yankees broken. Lee's Maryland foray, Special Order 191 lost like fool's gold. Antietam Creek, September 17th. Bloodiest single day, 23,000 fallen. McClellan dawdled, Lee slipped south. Lincoln seized the moment, preliminary emancipation, January 1st, 63, freedom's toll for rebels. Fredericksburg, December 62, Burnside's 122,000 hurled at Lee's 78,000 atop Marier Heights. Slaughter, 12,600 blue, 5,300 gray. Chancellorsville, May 63. Hooker unnerved, 17,000 Union versus 13,000 rebel. Jackson felled by friendly fire, Irony's bayonet. Gettysburg's Crossroads, July 1st through 3rd. Ewell dither day 1, Longstreet lagged day 2. Tickets charged day 3. 12,500 stormed, 6,000 shredded. 51,000 total dead. Lee's 3rd shattered. Vicksburg surrendered July 4th to Grant. Mississippi cleaved, Confederacy halved. Chattanooga relieved November. Grant's Crag assault. Lookout Mountains battle above the clouds. Land roared at Shiloh, April 6th. Grant's 48,000 caught napping by Johnston's 44,000. Johnston bled out mid-charge, highest rebel star to fall. Buell's reinforcements bludgeoned back, 23,000 total casualties in Tennessee thickets. Farragut's Mosquito fleet stormed New Orleans, April 25th. Chains snapped, Crescent City hiss. Memphis flotillas shattered June 6th, Mississippi mostly blue, save Vicksburg's defiant bluffs. Virginia's Valley, Jackson's foot cavalry, lightning marches, seized Front Royal, routed Banks at Winchester. Seven Pines, Johnston mauled, Lee promoted. The 7 days, McClellan's Peninsula thrust repulsed. Timid George missed glory, 15,000 Union blood for Richmond's gates. Pope's Northern Virginia campaign, Jackson's flank at Cedar Mountain, Depot feast at Manassas Junction. Second Bull Run, 28,000 Yankees broken. Lee's Maryland foray, Special Order 191 lost like fool's gold. Antietam Creek, September 17th. Bloodiest single day, 23,000 fallen. McClellan dawdled, Lee slipped south. Lincoln seized the moment, preliminary emancipation, January 1st, 63, freedom's toll for rebels. Fredericksburg, December 62. Burnside's 122,000 hurled at Lee's 78,000 atop Maurier Heights. Slaughter, 12,600 blue, 5,300 gray. Chancellorsville, May 63. Hooker unnerved, 17,000 Union versus 13,000 Rebel. Jackson felled by friendly fire, Irony's bayonet. Gettysburg's Crossroads, July 1st through 3rd. Ewell dither day 1, Longstreet lagged day 2. Tickets charged day 3. 12,500 stormed, 6,000 shredded. 51,000 total dead. Lee's 3rd shattered. Vicksburg surrendered July 4th to Grant. Mississippi cleaved, Confederacy halved. Chattanooga relieved November. Grant's Crag assault. Lookout Mountains battle above the clouds. 63's drafts bred riots. New York's July fury lynched blacks, torched asylums. 54th Massachusetts, Shaw's Black Lions charged Battery Wagner, July 18. Shaw buried with his equals. Kansas, Missouri vendettas peaked. Quantrill's Lawrence sack, August 21. 150 civilians slain, town torched. Lane's reprisals razed Sibley. Wilderness to Petersburg, Grant's Overland Hammer, May-June 64. Tangled brush, 18,000 first a day, Spotsylvania's Bloody Angle, 20 hours hand-to-hand. Cold Harbor, Grant's regretful charge, 7,000 in 20 minutes. Trenches clawed round Petersburg, 9 months stalemate, mines blown, craters held, July 30. Early's Washington feint, July. Fort Stevens probed, Lincoln under fire observing. Sherman's Atlanta siege. Hood's horns repulsed, City Flame, September 2. March to the Sea, 62,000 blues, scorched earth, spared yielders, terrified Savannah, December 21. Hood mauled at Nashville, December 15-16, Thomas uncrushed. Lincoln's 64 landslide, National Union ticket, doomed Copperheads. Liberty Prison's Great Escape, February 64. 109 tunneled free, 59 home. Hunley's torpedo doomed Housatonic, February 17. Submarine baptism and blood. Crew entombed with prey. Red River fiasco, Banks's blunder, Mansfield rout, April 8. Yellow Bayou's pyre. Fort Pillow's massacre, April 12. Forrest's men butchered 200 surrendered blacks. Bryce's Crossroads, Forbes rout. Shenandoah scorched by Sheridan autumn, 64. Valley's breadbasket barren. Mobile Bay, Farragut's damn the torpedoes, August 5. Lincoln's second inaugural, March 4, 65. With malice towards none, bind up the nation's wounds. Caroline's ravaged, Sherman torched Columbia, February 17. Bentonville, March 1921, Johnston yielded. Petersburg cracked, Five Forks, April 1, Fort Steedman faltered, March 25. April 2, Lee evacuated. Richmond aflame, Davis fled. Sailor's Creek, 7,000 rebels bagged, April 6th. Appomattox, April 9's, Lee's 28,000 faced Grant's 120,000. White flags, let us have no more discussion. Lincoln toured Richmond, April 4, mobbed by Freeman. Booth's bullet, April 14, Ford's Theater tragedy. Johnson sworn. Johnston yielded April 26, Ava's snared May 10, shackled. Palmito Ranch, May 13's irony, last clash, Union licked by Ford's Texans. Shenandoah's Wattle, Arctic whalers harried June 65, surrendered Liverpool, November, final rebel felon furled. Reunion's razor, amnesty for rebels, but Freedmen's Bureau starved. Sharecropping chained anew. Jim Crow's codes segregated, lynched. 620,000 dead, 2% of populace, dwarfed all prior wars. Native kin, pawns on both sides, reaped relocation's thorns. Legacies lash. 2015 Charleston's Emanuel 9 massacre reignited rebel relic rows. Statues toppled, flags furled. Heritage or hate? Historians like Kate Macer urge remembrance, not erasure, but excavation. As Cody Mars mused, these monuments myth make, not memorialize. Lessons in how we forget, lest we repeat. The Civil War, not mere memory, but America's unfinished symphony. Discord demanding crescendo, poured true union.